great to talk to you. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Likewise, thank you. And talking about your film, a real one,
Yes, indeed.
and it has had its success already in other film festivals besides Dances with Films.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the middle of a really great festival run. We had our premiere in LA in February. January, February. Gosh, time is so wild. But we were able to premiere at the Pan African Film Festival in LA earlier this year, which was lovely. And then we've just been kind of like bouncing all over the United States. We've been to Florida, we've been to Ohio, now the Bentonville Film Festival. We were in two different festivals in Massachusetts this month. So, we're really making our rounds.
You wrote it, you directed it. So, what inspired you for the writing process?
Yeah, well, I've been an actor for a really long time, so that's just kind of been the space I've occupied as an artist and as a performer. And in 2015, I got to make my first feature as a writer. I did not direct it because my background was largely in theater, and I didn't feel like I knew enough about film to like helm it as the director. But after having a lot of success with that feature called Olympia, I knew that I wanted to find a lane for myself as a director. Like I realized that that was the space that I wanted to occupy as a storyteller, really be in control of shaping the narratives that I wanted to see, especially in regards to how Black people and Black women, especially, are seen in the space we can take up on screen. So I set out to write. I set out to write a short that would be a proof of concept for a larger project. And I think it was 2019 when I wrote the first drafts of a real one. So I was thinking a lot about the unfolding of the Me Too movement. Um, I was thinking a lot about the racial justice, progress of racial justice in America, which I think a lot of people, their eyes were open to a lot of things in 2020. But, it's been a struggle since the inception of the country, but especially in the wake of Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and Laquan McDonald and countless others who we can name who have kind of been a part of this contemporary struggle. So I was thinking about all of those things. I knew I wanted to write a story about two young people. I teach teenagers during the summer, and so education is a really important part of my artistic practice. And those young people mean so much to me. So I knew I wanted to be about kind of teens moving from like the final moments of their adolescence into adulthood. And I couldn't help but think about the ways in which, in regards to the Me Too movement and the struggle for racial justice in America, that Black women, I think, are sometimes sidelined in both of those conversations. And yet I feel that Black women are oftentimes a group who need the most support and protection. So I set out to, that's when I started thinking about my two main characters, Lauren and Keisha. They're 17, they're in their final year of high school. One is incredibly like book smart, intelligent, longing to get into a college, like a prestigious college, and really like prove her value and worth in the world in that way. Best friends with Keisha, who is also intelligent, but in ways that schools don't tend to value or measure. And just at this crossroads in their life as they move from these final moments of adolescence into adulthood, and what happens when a secret is discovered that has major implications for not just their friendship, but for their outlook on the world. And so, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I wanted to, use this really deeply personal relationship as a lens to kind of understand their place as they struggle toward a greater sense of agency in their lives as Black women.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not going to spoil it. So I'm going to ask you about some of the advantages there are when you've been in front of the camera versus to now being behind the camera.
Oh, yeah. I love being an actor. I love the ability to channel some of the, I think, most intense and important moments of what it means to be a human being alive in the world, and to take on those moments in service of the audience who, you know, we all experience these, you know, these big moments in our lives. But, you know, storytelling is often rooted in conflict, and normally we try to avoid, you know, we try to avoid stress, we try to avoid conflict, but as actors, we run toward that so that we can process that and experience that for the benefit of our audiences, so that we can understand something about what it means to be a human being in the world more deeply. So I that is it's a position of great privilege and power. And I've, you know, that's kind of been my alignment as an artist from a very young age. Since I was about 16, I knew that that was something that I wanted to do with my life and to get really good at, and like really, you know, work at high levels with. Um, you know, I went to school for acting. I went to undergrad and graduate school as an actor. So I kind of like really dedicated my life to that work. But I found after school that I felt really limited in regards to kind of what roles I could take on. I was really tired of feeling, felt really marginalized a lot of times in those spaces. I was tired of being like the Black friend. It's a really commonplace that we tend to find ourselves in a lot of media. And I also felt like a lot of the roles that were coming my way were kind of one or two dimensional, didn't have a strong arc, and like weren't giving me the opportunity um, to explore as much as I think was within me to explore. And that's when I realized, okay, if I want to see the kinds of stories that I know are that I'm capable of and that we deserve to be able to tell, then I'm going to have to take control of the narrative. I'm going to have to do it myself. That's when I started writing, which is not, that's actually not true. I've always been a writer. That was one of the first things I thought I wanted to do. Like as a kid, I actually learned to type on our very first family computer by transcribing all the little stories I'd written in my notebook to like our word processor at the time. So it was like a homecoming. I returned to my first love, which was writing, because it was a space where I found a sense of personal agency and power in terms of storytelling and how I could see myself projected outside of myself. And I think that has been a really great gift as well. It's a gift to myself because I get to share what's in my heart and what I want to allow to grow in other people's hearts about the things that are important to me, and to really shape and craft that. It gives me a sense of agency as an artist that I sometimes felt was lacking as an actor.
No, you mentioned that as an actor, you pursued the conflict, because that's obviously a great challenge for you. So how was it for you to direct the scenes where there's major conflict, frustration, anger, combination of all the feelings going on all at once?
Yeah, thank you for that question. There are some scenes that are pretty intense in a real one. And, you know, even in the writing of those scenes, there was a sense of like fear and danger. But to me, that's how I know that I'm going in the right direction, when something feels really alive, um, and like new territory, and I'm feeling something deeply just in trying to give it shape on the page. That's when I know I think I'm moving in the right direction. That's what I want to pursue. But then in the directing of it, it's a whole new ball game because, you know, when I'm writing, I'm alone and it's just me and the page. But when I'm directing, it's me and my team and the actors who I'm asking to embrace these moments and to be incredibly vulnerable and incredibly truthful, in ways that I think, again, in our regular lives, we tend to avoid. So it was important to me to take great care in working with them, not only so that we could get what we needed for the camera, but so that my actors, in particular Matthew Amador and Eris Baker, uh, um, felt taken care of through the process and could access what they needed to access, and then return and feel whole and, you know, and not kind of like stuck in the intensity of those moments. So we did a lot of rehearsal. We shot in 2 days, which was fast. It was very fast. We did a lot of prep and we really hit the ground running. But we had a day of table read and rehearsal before we shot. That's where we could kind of get to know one another better, talk through a lot of these more intense beats. We worked with a fight choreographer, and an intimacy director, Jedrika Guest, who really helped us navigate the kind of more physically charged moments and the more intimately charged moments, so that everybody could be on the same page, know what to expect. Everybody was in agreement with what was going to happen, and that we could move through those moments really smoothly. Yeah, in a way that felt both courageous and safe.
Well, McKenzie, thank you for the time and talking about your film that is also going to be competing for an Oscar qualification.
Yes, so Dances with Films, it'll be my first time at this festival. I've heard so many amazing things about it. I'm so excited to screen there. And one of the things that they do to support some of their filmmakers who win in awards categories, especially for the shorts, is a Oscar qualifying run that would allow us to be, I think, on a long list for Oscar qualification, which honestly for me is icing on the cake. To be able to work at this level, to be able to gather a team of people to bring to life a story that at one point only existed in my head and my heart, to be able to actually see that through to production, and then to get it into festivals and in front of audiences, that's the biggest gift, right? To be able to share these stories with audiences and allow that to impact them. That's, I think, the reason why a lot of indie filmmakers do what we do. So additional recognition on top of that, the awards or even Oscar qualification, that's truly an honor, but is really icing on the cake of being able to work in a field that's incredibly challenging, but that I feel a lot of love and dedication for.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Nancy. It was great talking with you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.